Welcome again to the Talking Guitar Podcast, brought to you by the North American Guitar in Nashville, Tennessee. Lindsay Straw here, today featuring my chat with French guitar maker Brice Roggero, who is truly charming in the joy that he radiates for his work. We talk about how he developed his impressive skills as a self-taught luthier, and the dual artistic outlets that he has building both his own guitars, as well as some in cooperation with his shopmates at Wild Custom Guitars. We also touch on the importance of visual aesthetics, not only for inspiring a player to reach out to a luthier in the first place, but to pick up the guitar every single day. We had a lot of fun talking about music too, so be sure to check out the list in the show notes to see what inspires Brice while he builds. Now please enjoy my chat with Brice Roggero. Hey Brice, thank you so much for being on the Talking Guitar Podcast with me today. It's so exciting to finally meet you sort of in person.
Yeah, true. Thank you. Me too. I'm honored.
Oh, well, you know how much we love your beautiful guitars and how sad we are that the one didn't make it here in one piece. It's so disappointing, but we hope that we'll get another one in soon to hopefully not go with the one that we currently have, because hopefully that one will sell before that happens, but you know.
Yeah, well, happens.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, since that post, I have a few luthiers that wrote to me that it did happens to them once in their life, so
yeah,
I mean,
this is your one time, and hopefully that'll be it for the rest of
your
life.
Yeah.
Oh, such a bummer. Well, to talk about more happy things, I feel like I don't know a whole lot about your background as a luthier. So, I mean, and I always start off these conversations with digging into your experience and your tutelage and everything. But yeah, tell us all about how you got into building guitars.
Okay. Well, it's a long story, I guess. When I was young, my parents divorced when I was very young, so I had two fathers in my life, and the stepfather I had is a singer-songwriter and plays a lot of guitars. I mean, each time we were cooking, he took the guitar and played. So there was always guitar in my life since I was 3 years old.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, for me, it was kind of natural, you know, to just hear acoustic music all day long. Then when I was about 16, 17, I wanted to share some time with him, and he loved to build boat models, you know, and so I don't know why I wanted to build a hood. I don't know why. So I got started with trying to find some wood and everything I could find to say, well, how can I build a hood? So I did half of a hood and then just stopped one day, put it in the barn, and forget about it. Then I got my life, finished my degree and everything. So I have been a PE teacher for about 3 years. Then worked in the education system for about 7 years more. So about 10 years in the education system. And I was pretty miserable, to be honest. It wasn't my life. I couldn't bear to stay much longer here. And at that time, I discovered a documentary about Michael Greenfield.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a point where a lot of things in my life make sense, because I discovered the passion, the craftsmanship. And I mean, I think I watched this video about every night for about 1 or 2 weeks. Because I was so inspired. And then I got to discover Michael Watts through your videos of Tinag back in the day. And again, the passion, the love of the craftsmanship, the beautiful guitars, the sound, each type of sound, tone woods, everything. And for me, it was some kind of ringing a bell in my head, you know. And so I decided to watch everything I could about Luthier. I didn't sleep much. I mean, I was all night long looking at looking at every video I could find, taking notes, crossing notes from everybody's techniques or what I could find to learn. Then I read Somaji's work, Go and Gillette books. So again, taking notes and trying to learn everything I could find. And at a point I said, well, I have a hood in a barn somewhere. It's time to finish it, I think. So I took it, I finished it, and it was just a pure moment of joy. I mean, for me, I just came to realize who I was and what I love, you know, in life. And then I decided to build a mandolin F5, a bluegrass mandolin, because why not?
Just going straight for like one of the hardest instruments to make.
I thought it was fun. I loved the shape. I loved everything, and to be honest, in a sense, I thought it was so much new techniques of woodworking and craftsmanship to learn that I thought it was a good idea, and so I did, and I loved it. And then I decided, well, what I wanted to build is guitars. So I've built 1, 2, 3, 4 guitars, and repaired some guitars of my friend, of my stepfather, and all. And one time I decided to introduce myself to a guitar company that is about an hour from my home. It's called Wild Custom Guitars, who does incredible electric guitars. And I wanted to introduce myself to be able to learn about the lacquer, how to finish my guitars. And it seems that we get along very well, and we are very good friends now. Thanks to them, they just open up a space just for me in their huge workshop. And now I'm installed in their workshop with them. So I'm not alone. I mean, I have a team with me, so we can share thoughts, we can share ideas on builds of whatever. And that was so cool for me, because I started just alone in my kitchen or my whatever the room I could build in my house, you know. And then one day they decided to build some acoustics for them, and they had some clients, and we decided to design something really for them, and not what you can find on Roggero Guitars, which is my designs. And I decided to do a design for them, with them, and what would they like to do. So we did something quite crazy, but it's a very nice way to build something different from what I do in my craftsmanship, you know. So sometimes I feel like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you know. I have me, and then I have the Wild Custom team, and what crazy we can build. And so it's fun, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I finished in this industry, and for me, since then, it's just joy every day. So I just love being here, yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. So how long have you been partnered up with the Wild Custom guys?
Oh, just before COVID.
Oh, wow.
Just before COVID. And I've built or I mean, three guitars for, oh no, four guitars for them now. And I build mine. And the chance I have, it's that they do big shows like NAMM, for example.
Okay.
And I got the chance for this summer to have been to Los Angeles to do the NAMM with them, and for me it was eye-opening on the big industry, you know, and I met a lot of people that I wanted to meet. So yeah, it was kind of great.
Yeah, that's awesome. How
Yeah.
big is the team? Is it just a couple guys or is it pretty big?
Yeah, five. They're
Oh,
five.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of sits in that middle range where it's like still small shop, but like you've got a bit more, you can sort of automate certain tasks and people can focus on one thing or the other. Interesting.
Yeah.
So had they built any acoustics before collaborating with
No.
you for those? Okay.
No. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can we see those online anywhere?
Oh, you can see them on my Instagram.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Because I shared it and on their website.
Okay.
I mean, if you try to find a wild custom acoustic guitar, you know it's I build it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do the Google image search, it'll find you. Cool.
Yeah.
So awesome. So you had your musical stepfather. So did you start learning guitar from him pretty early on?
Yeah. Well, he's a huge 12-string guitar player. So it was for me another step on the understanding of how the guitar works, and it's I mean, I took the guitar, but to play with him I was just going to take percussions and drums and so we could play together. And so I played a lot of percussions and drums from my 80-20 and played a little guitar. I don't play very much, but I play, well, each time I do a guitar, I just play the guitar for about 2 weeks every day, because I want to learn about the work I've did, if I like what I've done, and just to know the guitar before it went off and I wouldn't see it again, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you get your guitars back very often for repairs or anything like that, or do they just kind of go so far across the world that it's pretty rare?
For now, I never crossed a guitar again. For now, yeah, but that's, I mean, I hope it's a good sign. but yeah, what's strange for people like me, or I mean, you have seen Drew Laurie or Virgil Pilon in Europe. There is not the same attraction for fingerstyle guitar that you can find in the US or other part of the world. So most of our time we build guitars that goes off Europe for I mean whatever, another country. But for now I haven't got any guitar stayed in Europe. I lie. I have one guitar in Switzerland.
Okay. Man, that's crazy. I remember Drew talking about that and how it's the market just isn't quite the same as it is here. So it is just a lot of exporting. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, true.
So musically, so you build these very fingerstyle centric guitars, which I assume a lot of that comes from the Samaji influence. But do you yourself like a lot of fingerstyle music? Do you listen to a lot of guys like Andy McKee or old British folk fingerstylists, anything like that?
Yeah, I think maybe you're gonna laugh, but I think the first one who really picked my attention was James Taylor.
Oh no, that's awesome.
Because I'm a huge fan of James Taylor from I mean 5 years old. My stepfather just kept James Taylor, Cat Stevens, and how incredible they were. And what I loved about him is they always had some fingerstyle gimmick in the background. you know, not in front, but in the background, you could hear wonderful guitar.
Yeah.
And I was always just listening to that, you know, waiting for the moment or yeah, I like that. And so, I mean, I got in the fingerstyle world like that, if I can remember. After that, of course, I discovered Andy McKee, Dustin Furlow, that I love too. Callum Graham, if I say his name properly.
Oh,
well,
I've listened to him.
Incredible. Just beautiful pieces. I love his melodies.
Okay, I'll have to look him up.
Beautiful melodies, yeah. So when I work, I always have some music in the background. Fingerstyle, of course, but a lot of indie folk music too. Which is some kind of problem for me because I just love those guys. I mean, I have, for example, today I have an artist that I just love, and I'm going to see him in Paris in 1 month, and it's Grigory Alanizakov.
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is just incredible.
Yeah.
And every time I just say to my wife, I would love to build a guitar for him. But,
yeah.
I mean, it's just impossible. This guy is just over the vintage market and just have some crazy guitars, and that's why I love about the guitar market, because for me, you can find everything you try to find in different style. In this style of music, you can't have Grigory Alanizakov with some modern guitar like me in his hands on stage. For me, it doesn't fit. but I would love that.
Yeah. Maybe you and the Wild Custom guys could collaborate on some special Gregory guitar.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So how close are you to Paris? Where are you based?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of France. So I'm about 3 hours in car or train from Paris.
Okay. Yeah. Is that close to where you grew up?
Well, I moved a lot in France. I was about an hour from Paris when I was young, until my 16, 17. And then I got back in the south of France because my mother is from this region, and I just love this region. So I wanted to come back in the center of France near Vichy. Yeah.
What do you like about it?
Nature. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's just nature all around, and I have the chance to live in a beautiful city with some kind of human. It's still human, you don't have a big city where you seem to be just an ant in the world, so I like this part of being just in a small city where you kind of be able to know people in the street, Yeah,
that's really nice.
Yeah.
Well, so in addition to Michael Greenfield and Samaji, who else do you count as big influences in your building?
I mean, every one of them. My friends just laugh because I said they are my heroes in a sense, because I discovered this field with all those great luthiers, and they influenced me in so many ways for so many things differently. If I have to drop names, I will talk about Joël Michaud from Michaud Made. Just love his work. Taran Guitars, love his work. Kazimi, Michael Greenfield, of course. But after that, if I go in a more classic way, I will talk about Astrand, Rasmussen, Drew Laurie, Buendia, Isaac Chang. Well, I can name so much of them. Loic Borto from Bouchereau, I love his work too. I mean, if I go for some woodworking type of style, I will talk about Gerbert guitars, Bashkin guitars. So yeah, for me, I think all those guys are in the market because they have something to say. You know, they all have something. I mean, what I love about is when I see a wall of guitars and I can say, here's a Buendia guitar, here is a Matsuda guitar, here is Raymond Kraut guitar, Max Pone guitar here, you know, and from a distance you can know who they are by their work, and I like this.
Yeah, it's cool how once you really, I like at first working here last year, it was so overwhelming to see all these different styles and kind of put different names to guitars. But once you do get to know them, everybody has such a clear signature. And even if there are folks whose work kind of has shades of reminders of another Luthier's work, like initially, like your work kind of reminded me of Max Spone's and Ray Kraut's, but it still looks like your guitar. You like there's still a distinct touch about it that you're like, oh no, that's a Roggero. That's not a Spone. That's a little bit different, which is so cool. So yeah, I love that you can see how everybody's sharing those ideas, but it still has their own little like fingerprint on it.
Yeah, well, I think it's hard these days to bring something different, really different. I mean,
yeah, totally like out of the woodwork.
Yeah, and I mean you can be Matsuda Guitars who just glues every piece of wood it find, and you can discover some piece of art in front of you, and it's still a guitar. But I mean, it's if I was coming into this world like that, I mean, I wouldn't have the attention, you know, because nobody knows me. Of course, I had to build who I am with my guitars, and trying to find each way on the line who I am the next day, because everything evolves. I mean, I talked about it with Rory Dowling from Taran Guitars one day, because you can see his work and so many things change, and yet so many things stayed him in his guitar. And he said, well, you just have to grow, and each time you will find that something works for you, something isn't, and that's part of the journey. I mean, you just have to find your way and try to work through the line you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so with your models, how did you decide? So you just have the 3 models, correct?
Yeah.
The S, the M, and the L. What is the biggest one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We have
RGo-M. Yeah.
And did you sort of have it like a similar approach to like Grit Laskin, where you just wanted to have kind of three standard models, something kind of for everybody, but just in sort of the perfect range of sizes?
Yeah, because I think often when I had discussion with clients, they sometimes seems to forget that the shape of the guitar is a huge part of the sound.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you can't start with somebody who say, well, I'm a bluegrass player. Okay, I'm gonna build you a double O for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So from the start, I wanted to have the opportunity to have, well, some kind of built built for each type of sound I was looking for, you know. And in a sense, I drew and shaped my guitars with existing models that were the double O, the OM, and some kind of Grand Auditorium or Dreadnought or what. Well, everything you could find in big guitars before jumbo guitars, because jumbo guitars doesn't really speak to me.
Yeah.
For now. For now.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's how I try to design my shapes.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And do you do anything differently with your bracing, or anything that's like kind of unexpected, maybe not just like standard X or scalloped or anything like that?
I'm on, well, like a few other luthiers, I'm on a double X bracing for my double O and OM shape guitar, so the RGOS and RGo-M guitars.
Mm-hmm.
And on the bigger one, I do double X under the X. I mean, I have a bit more of bracing under the belly for the bigger guitars.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Inside, is there anything else that you do kind of unusually, or is it all kerfing, all that stuff sort of pretty standard?
I do structure sides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do structure sides because it makes sense for me since the beginning. I really thought of the guitar like a snare drums.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on the percussive side, and for me it makes sense that the sides a good structure for the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So when I found that a few luthiers were going down this rabbit hole with structure sides, and instead of laminating side, I started to build like that, and for me now, I really don't want to go back.
I know, yeah, I know that a lot of luthiers do that now. Is it primarily, it is just more of like a stability kind of issue. It's not really impacting the sound. It's just making sure that it's stable, and it allows usually the top and the back to be a bit thinner, right?
Yeah, yeah, and you can fine tune with the fact that you add mass, for example, on the sides, and so you can work a bit much on the sides of the guitar before, so you can drop, for example, the frequency on the top or the back. So that's a part of the work I want to go down now, to work on frequencies, because for now I've worked more the feeling I've got, you know, was my top flex like I wanted to be, or I mean, I'm so curious that I want to know each side of the building process, that some, for example, Thinisfic or J. Ryber works a lot on scientific aspect of the building.
Yeah. Yeah, like Theonis has that, like he has an engineering background, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So that's why his guitars have such a specific structure to them, and yeah, you can tell that he's thought about that a whole lot. But yeah, so for you right now, you're mostly just sort of like tap tuning and going for the feel. It's not quite as I guess, mathematic and scripted out. Are you considering like studying with somebody like Brian Gallup or with Theonis to sort of get a better handle on that?
Maybe, yeah. I'm talking sometimes with Ines with Instagram. So when I have that's a part of this world that I just love about, is you just can send a message to somebody at the end of the world, and he can respond to you 2 hours later, and that's just great. I mean, it's incredible.
The interconnectedness of especially like the luthier world is just, it's where everybody seems to be so accessible to each other, and technology makes it so easy to trade ideas, which is really cool.
Yeah, true.
Mhm. So the topic that I love asking everybody about is, of course, tone woods. And it seems like the ones, actually, we've had a couple guitars. No, we've had the Pau Ferro guitar from you, which was, I think, my first Pau Ferro guitar that I'd ever played, possibly. So I'm curious to know about what your favorite tone woods are and if you're kind of getting into the alternatives like a lot of folks are.
Yeah, I, it's weird because I think as a luthier, you have to think about building your brand and who you are in this market, and also you have to put some food on the table one day. So you have to go with the great tone woods, and it's great. I mean, the Madagascar rosewood I just built. I just love this guitar, and you know, I think I won't build with Brazilian, for example, because it's extremely hard to find nowadays, and especially in Europe and in France. I mean, I would have to find an old luthier who have a one set or two in his stash, and it would, but I think it's too difficult, and I don't want to be able to look myself in the mirrors knowing that maybe this wood wasn't cut as it was supposed to be. Yeah, so just for me, I mean, I just put a black point on Brazilian rosewood, and I'm sure I won't touch one day. But on the other hand, I'm just so open on every tone woods, because I think that's part of the joy of this work. I mean, you can take so many species that can bring each of them something different, something sometimes just aesthetic. I mean, that's what I talk sometimes with clients. I say, you can build a guitar for a specific sound. I have no problem. But if you tell me I just want a beautiful guitar, I have no problem either. That's what you want, and that's what will make you pick the guitar and have just some crazy fun with it. Yeah. And that's what I want. I that's my goal in my business is I just want a client to walk in his house, pass the guitar, and just want to take it for 10 minutes, play a little, and go on with his day, because I like the fact that it could be inspiring just for a few minutes, in your day, and you have a lovely moment, and sometimes you just play 2 or 3 hours. That's okay too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's why the aesthetics are so important too, because you want people to be drawn in and to be invited to play the guitars.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think that sometimes we are not totally honest with ourselves. I mean, our eyes are just always open. So when we look at something beautiful, and it's just making something in you that says, I'm getting interested, and it starts the conversation in some way. I mean, for now, it's if somebody send a message to me, it's just because they have seen my guitar. They didn't play it, for example, So from this part on, I know that the design and the lines, the shape, well, it's a huge part of what will bring the client or not, but trying to start the conversation.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about all the tone woods, because you could find so different tone woods for each type of sound you want to try to dig in.
Absolutely. So what are your personal favorite tone woods?
Huh. Huh. Well, I love Madagascar rosewood for sure. I love Malaysian Blackwood as the guitar you had. I love Koa.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe it's weird because people don't refer to Pao Feo like a great tone wood, but I loved it. I
Yeah.
just loved the what it gave, and to be honest, in my mind, I think one day I will build a Pao Ferro redwood guitar, for example.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think it could really shine.
Yeah. Where's Palfaro from again? It's like Bolivian.
It's called sometimes Bolivian rosewood.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Or the problem it's from Mexico too. You can find some Pau Ferro near Mexico too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the names for the wood sometimes it's weird because you can find so many different names for the same tone wood.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, especially with the rosewood, sometimes you're like, oh, this is that. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of confusing. And with Pau Ferro, there are no like restrictions on it, right?
Oh
It's
no.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I know that with Madagascar rosewood, I remember from Tom Sand's video about it, he talks about how it's not restricted the way Brazilian rosewood is, but it's sort of a little bit like of a gray area in terms of the morality of getting it sometimes. So with tone woods like that, do you worry about that as well? And do you how do you source them and make sure that you are getting them from a source that you're like, okay, this is legit. It's not something I need to be worried about.
Yeah. Well, for my Madagascar rosewood, it's on the classified 2 on cities, so I couldn't buy a set from the US, for example.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You know, like Coco Bolo, for example, I can't.
Yeah.
So I have to buy them in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and for that, it's quite hard to find, and I have just a big shop in Spain, like it's like a Stumac for you, for example, uh, where you can find a lot of tone wood, and it's called Madinter.
Mm-hmm.
They work with papers and all, and the problem is if you are not in Madagascar when they are cutting the trees, you
You just
can't
don't
know.
really know. Yeah.
You have to trust them, and you have to. I mean, I would love to go to Madagascar and just take the piece of wood
Yeah.
and know that I can take this one.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all a little bit of a just trust game where you're
Yeah.
like, I hope that this is fine.
Yes. That's the
Yeah.
problem nowadays, because you can have somebody that makes just false paper,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Yeah.
couldn't know.
Mm.
So at one point you that's why I really don't want to go with Brazilian, because
Yeah.
I know from the startup that, I mean, it's protected nowadays with the CITES 3, so
Mm-hmm.
I just go on with that, and I say, okay, no problem. I mean, I don't want to be part of this game, in a sense, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's just there's so many other woods to work with. Why bother?
Yeah. Hmm. I
Yeah.
mean, and they're just that's why I love about, well, he can, but Michael Greenfield, for example, you can find so many guitars with so many different tone woods.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, Granadillo, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen another Luthier, for example, with this wood. Or you can find so many wood that uh, Myrtle. I don't know
Oh,
if it's
Myrtle. Yeah.
Myrtle. Yeah, for example, it's another tone wood that it's coming nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But every client doesn't necessarily know
Yeah.
every tone wood. And in a sense, I can understand that some people, for example, just buy a guitar and say, well, if I have to sell it one day, is the tone wood easy for me to sell back? You know, as we can see with maple guitars nowadays. Why everybody's starting to say that maple isn't a really great tone wood?
Crazy.
Yeah.
we love maple. Like, I feel like we get a maple guitar in every couple of weeks and we're like, why does everybody not like maple? This is so good.
Yeah. And there is this little, I don't know, it's the street words that say, well, maple it's not really great. And I would love to be part of this conversation where I will be able to discover myself and clients or people with new tone woods, you know, because I love this idea.
Yeah, me too. I really hope that we can sort of, as a retailer, help encourage people to try out new things and make them feel confident, like you mentioned, that if they do want to resell at some point, that there will still be a demand for it, which that is such a valid point. And I think that does kind of give people some, you know, some cold feet about it. And that's why people keep buying Brazilian, because they're like, well, there's always going to be a demand for Brazilian, but we need to move away from that at some point. So
true. And how can you be more bespoke?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's impossible.
Get something totally like uncommon that Martin and Taylor haven't even touched yet. Like, do that. And then eventually Martin and Taylor will get into it, and then people will want more of those guitars. So it'll be fine.
True.
Yeah. So what's your favorite soundboard wood?
Well, I work mostly with moon spruce nowadays because I love it, and the market seems to love it too. Yeah. So that's kind of a good point too. I loved lute spruce. I've built one guitar with lute spruce, and I really dig into the sound of lute spruce too. Well, German spruce too. Well, the Pau Ferro was with a nice master grade German spruce. And the thing is, I think I love every aspect of each soundboard. In a sense. I mean, I've just built a Malaysian Blackwood Western red cedar guitar, and I just love the feeling of this guitar, because cedar is you can't find a lot of guitars with cedar nowadays. It seems, but I just love it, and for that I really want to go with redwood. I just received four soundboards of beautiful redwood, and I just want to go to see what I can do with it, because I mean a lot of great luthiers are working with it, and in a sense it would give to me another tool to be able to use on my building.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, redwood, I'm kind of, I feel like last year I was like, I don't know about this. It's like, I don't really like the sound, but this year I've been all about redwood for some reason. It's funny how your tastes change.
Yeah.
Well, I had some rapid fire questions that I wanted to ask. So rapid fire number one, what's your, well, we kind of talked about this before, but your go-to music or podcast for listening to while you're working? Do you have an album or anything that you're really digging on right now?
I have a great YouTube channel named Indie Folk Central. It's just indie folk. I listen to that, I mean, 90% of my time. And I will be able to listen to piano too. Some Ludovico Einaudi or Olafur Arnalds, some kind of chilling music.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite album that you've discovered this year?
I would say Gin Road is a new duo of indie folk singer-songwriter with Harry Payne, who had his solo career before, and I just dig their music. It's
Cool.
awesome.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to put together a playlist of your favorite tunes for people to check out.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Well, what fuels your day, coffee or tea?
None of them.
Really?
Yeah.
No caffeine.
Uh, I mean, in Wild Custom Guitars, they're always making fun of me because I don't like coffee, I don't like tea, I don't like alcohol. So I just drink Coca-Cola or water.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, when I come to a party and everybody is with a beer or whatever, and I just ask for a Coca-Cola, it seems that I'm the little boy of 8 years old. But well, that's how I am.
Yeah, no, you just get a good night's sleep. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Because you're not drinking the night before, so you don't need the coffee in the morning. So it's for the best.
Yeah.
So what's a hobby or interest that you have that folks might not know about?
Well, I've done a lot of sports when I was young, so
what was your favorite sport?
Well, I was doing something very special. It's trial, VTT trial. It's a trial in mountain bike.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's some kind of parkour with a bike.
Whoa, that's intense.
And I was doing that for all my youth, and I had to stop one day for back problems.
Yeah.
So
that seems like that could be a hard sport on your body.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah, and now you need to keep the hands safe because you need all that
mobility. True.
Well, last but not least, what's next for you? Are you going to any of the guitar showcases in the next 6 months or so, or anything planned for next year?
I am going to the Mix is a show in Montreux in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
They did the first one last year.
Oh, okay.
And it was just great. So every Luthier, if you want to go, just go. It's a great show. Seriously, I have the chance to meet Michel Pellerin last year.
Oh, nice.
And it's so great guy, and it was a real treat for me. So I'm gonna go this year. It's around the first week of May, I think, 5 or 6 May, something like that. Mm-hmm. And maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to NAMM with my friends of Wild Custom. I'm not sure yet, but for now, I think that they are the two shows I will possibly go. Mm-hmm. I'd like one day to come to Woodstock or La Conner or a US show. It's not easy for a French guy because so much traveling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love it. I would love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we'll hope to see you there next year. And is there anything else that you wanted to promote before we wrap up? Anything, any new projects or anything?
Well, I would like to thank you.
Oh, well, thank you
for you and the team and all, because it's for me it changed a lot of things, and to be quite honest, it was kind of a dream.
Oh,
because I discovered this field with TNAG, and for me it was wait, I'm going to have one of my guitar on the same wall than all my heroes.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do I sign?
They definitely deserve to be there, and we're so proud to showcase your work. And I hope that we can spec out another guitar soon and get even more of your guitars in. So thank you so much for your time, and it's been such a pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Talking Guitar. The guitar that you hear at the beginning of this episode, played by Carl Miner, is the RGo-M in Malaysian Blackwood and Swiss Moon Spruce, and it is currently available for sale now. To learn more about Bryce and all of our fabulous luthiers, come visit us at thenorthamericanguitar.com. Until next time.